another episode of Two Healthy Chicks. I'm Ayana.
And I'm Jenny.
And you are listening or potentially watching episode 4, where we are wrapping up the mind-body-skin connection. How you feeling, Jenny?
Feeling good. It's a good night.
Yeah. This was a little bit of an emotional roller coaster day for me today. We are recording. You may be listening to this a little bit later, but we're recording on my son's would-be 15th birthday. So, a little bit of emotions there, but I will say everybody on social media today has been just so loving and supportive. For some reason, I just woke up and wanted to flood social media with all of his
I love
pictures.
that.
Yeah,
Love that idea.
it just, I didn't expect it to take the route that it did, but it did, and it felt really good. I mean, I literally started at like 4 a.m. this morning when I couldn't sleep. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, just want to thank everyone. It made me feel so much better. So, yeah. But moving
I'm so
on.
glad you did that, because that gives us the chance that didn't get to know him to get to know him. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate that.
Yeah, and that actually felt so good to me. Someone else said that also, and I wondered if people were getting tired of seeing so many of his photos.
Never.
I'm
No.
telling you, like, I posted at least once or twice an hour today. So, yeah, I was
Keep it
all
up.
over social media. It might be a rest of the week thing. I'm going to warn you.
That's okay.
What's in your mug tonight?
I am drinking the detox tea. So,
Yeah. I felt like I needed to start my hydration routine a little earlier tonight. So I'm with and I'm matching. Hey,
Oh,
I'm with
look at you.
my 28 ounces. It has a little bit of everything. And one of them actually we'll get into at the end of the show. So there may or may not have been some planning there.
I love it. Can't wait. That's awesome.
So, like I said, we are wrapping up mind, body, skin, and the connection between the three. I mean, we've had a really good last couple of episodes. Like last week was eye-opening, definitely for me. And I know a lot of it you've been going through as you go through your journey to healthier living and just being gluten-free, as well as checking labels and things like that. And for me, like this week, again, another little bit of an emotional roller coaster because, I got some medical news about my daughter, which she will be fine, but it is related to like labels and ingredients. And we're doing a whole shift in this household as a result, whether or not all doctors want to admit that many of our ailments are related to food. I don't really need them to co-sign. Thankfully, her specialist does co-sign, so that's good.
Yes,
but
that is good.
I digress again. I usually digress,
And that's okay.
So speaking of like some of those things where we need to be checking labels, we're really going to dive into that a little bit more today. Ironically, it will not be because of what we put in our body, which, that gets so much airplay, our mind, our body. But what about our skin?
Yeah. I think it's really interesting because I feel like these are topics that I know were very shocking to me, and I didn't understand. I had no concept. I had no idea that these things, like, I just thought you ate just, because it tasted good and you wanted to watch calories so you didn't gain too much weight, and that's all there was to eating. Like, who knew that it can just affect your body in so many ways in your overall health? And then, yes, what we're diving into today, the skin, I had no idea. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited to unpack this together. And we have a really awesome guest too coming up. So it's going to be really fun and hopefully eye-opening for all of our guests as well.
Yeah, I think that a lot of us know that our skin is our largest organ, right? It holds us together. We only technically get one skin, even though it sheds. We still have to take really good care of it. And that's part of what we're going to dive into today. Like, it breathes in nutrients. Like, it does a whole lot more than I think we think of on a daily basis. And just like you were saying, there are some really interesting things when it comes to the skin. It expels waste. waste and toxins. That's what's happening when you sweat, when you're having that really good workout. It's not just because your body got hot. Like, yeah, you got hot, but it's also, it's working, and our skin is constantly working. So needless to say, I think it might be important for us to pay attention to the ingredients, not only in what goes in our body, but what we put on our body.
Yeah, for sure. And we're really going to expand on this today. So I'm super excited because I think our guest today is going to be able to speak into this so nicely today. It's pretty amazing. So I am excited to have her on and have her hear her insights that she has for us. So Dr. Autumn is a friend of mine, and she's also my chiropractor. And I want to tell you a little bit about her as an intro. So Dr. Autumn is a chiropractor who focuses on neurological adaptability and structural correction. She graduated from Palmer College of Chiropractic in 2016 and began working as an associate doctor to get experience. She soon learned that her passion is working with pregnancy, kids, and families. So she dove back into education through the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, or ICPA. Also, she recently started working with a company called BirthFit to better serve women both during pregnancy and postpartum. So as Dr. Autumn grew up, she continually saw members of her family or friends get stuck in this medical cycle, which I think we totally relate to because this is kind of what we've been talking about. And so she saw them, they would go to a doctor, leave with a medication or a referral, and then that medication often wouldn't work, and they would go back and get another medication or a referral. And it just happened over and over and over again. So after a while, Dr. Autumn knew there had to be a better way. So she was fortunate enough to start seeing a chiropractor as a kid, and there was able to see all the amazing ways that chiropractic helped people, which is way beyond back pain, which I'm excited to talk a little about as well. So after talking to her family chiropractor and a bit, she knew that chiropractic was how she wanted to serve people, and serving people she is. So I'm excited to bring her on tonight. So welcome, Dr. Autumn.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here. A little nervous, to be honest. But
it's okay.
Thank you so much. I'm honored. I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Thank you. Yeah, we are so excited to have you here. And I am just really looking forward because you are a wealth of knowledge. So I am really excited to tap into that. And I have learned so much from you. And I know we're going to get into it later, but I'll just preface and start by saying that, chiropractic, how does that relate to the skin? So I'm excited to for our listeners to see that connection. Because Ayana, I know for you, you had said,
what?
Absolutely.
Like everyone for that connection.
I was very confused. I'm going to just put it right out there, Autumn. Like literally when we were discussing how we were going to tailor this show, Jenny recommended, and I was like, but she's in chiropractic medicine. What am I missing here? And she just broke it down for me. So I am really excited because I would love to see the connection. I'm like very intrigued. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is as a chiropractor, people always just connect it with headaches or back pain or whatnot. And the thing with chiropractic is it has more to do with your nervous system, like your brain stem, your spinal cord, and how it controls everything. And it controls literally everything. So we learn so much more than just pain and headaches. So I'm excited to kind of speak to the other parts of health too that we all learn about.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's do it. Let's dive in. Let's start with the skin. So let's talk about the skin. So Ayana started us with it. And so there's so much more to the skin than we realized, than I even knew. I mean, I know it's a reflector of what's going on inside. It holds us together, but it does so much more. So enlighten us with what do we not know about the skin, Dr. Autumn?
Yeah, I'm not going to go like super in depth, but I think what we all need to know is the skin is made up of many layers. There's two main layers of the several that are there. So we have our epidermis, which is kind of the outside layer. And it has more of your keratin in it, more of your protection, and a little bit more like waterproofing. So it keeps like water out or keeps water in. So that's actually the difference between like the skin in your mouth, how it stays kind of wet, versus the skin outside. So the skin in your mouth doesn't have keratin. So that's kind of a big difference that people can notice. But the other layer, your dermis, is a little bit thicker. And that's the one that's going to play a bigger role in stuff that we're talking about today. So it has a lot more of blood vessels and glands and lymph tissue. It does a lot more of the absorption of things. And it's the part that we think of when we think of like wrinkles or elasticity or like sagging.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. So the dermis is the one that most people think of when we think of like beauty or skin products or absorption. And that's the heavy hitter in terms of how it affects our health in the way that our skin absorbs things that we put on it.
Nice. Yes. So I know that it's been said, and it has been very well established, that 60% of what we put on our skin is absorbed within 26 seconds. And that was mind blowing for me when I learned that a few months ago. And with that in mind, the skin is often used as a conduit for medicine. So, if you think about it that way, it makes perfect sense that what we're putting on our skin is reaching our blood system, our organs. For instance, like Nicoderm and cigarette, like smoking cessation patches and lidocaine patches, like to address pain. So that would speak to exactly what you're mentioning.
Yeah. And there's other topical things that we probably all have in our house that we don't even think of either. Like, let's say like a Bengay. There is a lot of creams and stuff that's used to decrease inflammation, kind of helps cells heal faster. And so we always think about that like, oh, of course this is going to help. I'll just put it on my skin. But we never really think about everything else that we put on our skin every single day in terms of like the lotions and cosmetics and shampoos, especially with women. It can be such a problem with the stuff that's put in it. And I'm very happy that we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, no, so that just brings up, then there's obviously a lot of things, a lot of ingredients, right, that we don't want in our products, that we don't want going onto our skin, into our body, right? So what kinds of issues have you seen because of these kinds of ingredients? What problems can they cause?
Yeah, the biggest one that we're seeing over and over and over are like fertility issues in both women and men. And it's
back up.
Common. Yeah.
Fertility issues based on what we are putting on our skin.
Yeah.
You just say that.
Yeah. So they're called endocrine disruptors is kind of the big label that we put on them. But basically these chemicals, they can be natural, which is crazy, but most of them that we come in contact with are man-made. And so they're in literally everything, from the plastics that we store our food in to the liners of the metal food cans. It's in like Ziploc bags, our vinyl flooring, our shower curtains, our shampoos, our toothpaste, our lotions. They're literally in everything. And they're called endocrine disruptors because they mimic the hormones in our endocrine system. So they mimic these hormones. They either like kind of replace them in how they bind to our bodies, or they can like block them so that they don't work as well. And the crazy thing with hormones is you only need like the tiniest bit to change everything else. So when you are doing like hormone replacement therapy or hormone like therapies of any kind, they always start really, really small. It's a little bit at a time because it can make a massive difference. And so with these endocrine disruptors, a lot of times they don't actually break down in the environment. So they kind of linger in our bodies, and some of them like get stored in fat cells and they kind of just get stuck. And so then when you take a tiny bit over and over and over, like accumulating in the body, it's a really, really big problem. So fertility issues are huge. But we're also seeing that it's causing more immune system problems like autoimmunity, because your hormones and your gut and your health and your immune system are super intertwined. And then even things like developmental issues with like kids, like brain development, like behavioral development. There's so many things that we're starting to learn that really just starts to blow your mind.
Wow.
Like it's just, I'm sitting here, again, that mix of emotions, because last week we talked about those ingredients, and it's speaking to me and resonating so much, because that medical issue that I mentioned with my daughter is the fact that she's going through advanced puberty at such a young age. And you just talked about development, and I am so convinced this has played a huge role in it. And that's why we're making so many changes at home as far as our diet. And thankfully, like, I'm really blessed. Again, going off on a tangent, but we're so blessed. She will literally try anything when it comes to food.
She's amazing.
That's good.
I truly am blessed in that department, but it's just infuriating, because at the end of the day, are we supposed to check everything all the time? Like, where's our protection? Where's our protection?
I agree. We shouldn't have to. And the other countries don't have to. Like the European Union, they banned so many things because they know it's bad for health. And once we start going through this, like, I think everybody will question, just like you've started with your family, like, how in the world is this even legal? Like, how is this
sound familiar
for these to keep coming through when there's so much science to back up how toxic it is?
So, okay, so let's get into some specifics then. So here I am, I'm a mom. So I'm new to all of this, and you're telling me a bit overwhelmed here from what I'm hearing. So tell me, what do I need to look for? What should I be avoiding? So let's give our top 4 ingredients to avoid. And I know for me, I'll start with the first one, and I'm not saying this is in any particular order, it's just for the 4 big ones, is petrolatum and mineral oil. And this was truly shocking to me. This was my first hearing about this, and mainly because it is in everything. And I remember hearing about, basically, I mean, you can look up the story, but mineral oil is a derivative of oil. It's through the refining of oil is how Vaseline started, and mineral oil is refined even more, and that's what it is. So it is a toxin. It is not something, and it is used for Vaseline. It is in that's how mascara for Maybelline started. So it's in a lot of products now. And I remember my friend who was telling me about this said, go look at everything underneath your sink, all your lotions, all your everything. I'm like, okay, every single thing, mineral oil. It's just, it's shocking to me.
Yeah, especially like when you start trying to find products that don't have this stuff in them, it's a challenge. So it's nice when you find like brands that you can just trust the entire thing. So once we'll get to that at the end, I know, kind of give people more choices, but this stuff is in it. It's literally in everything.
Yeah. Another one of those ingredients is parabens. So this is commonly found in deodorants. Check your cabinets. But parabens are linked to breast cancer. So how many times are we saying that? Like, over the last 3 episodes, how many times are we saying it's linked to breast cancer? It's linked to cancer. Like, it's just, okay, yes, parabens. Yeah.
That's a big one in terms of these endocrine disruptors. This actually mimics estrogen. So even, and this is going to hit home a little more for you, like learning about your daughter then, and like puberty and stuff, like mimicking estrogen is a big deal. It affects puberty. It affects like weight gain. It affects how a woman could become pregnant, her fertility. It affects so many things. And with parabens though, so what it's used for is actually to inhibit the growth of bacteria and fungus and microbes. So like, it makes sense why it would be in stuff, but at the same time, there's other ways to go about it. So
other more expensive ways.
Yeah. And so when you have this accumulation of a paraben, again, especially in women, it can start to change a lot of stuff. And then, so they did this study with pregnant women specifically, and lotions. And so a lot of women, when they're pregnant, they use lotion like for skin and stretch marks, and you get like itchy and scratchy and dry skin and all that stuff.
Yep.
Very, very common. And I don't even have kids, and I know it.
You're preaching it though. You're speaking it.
for women to use lotion, pregnant or not. But they did this study with pregnant women, and they looked at women who used lotion versus who didn't during pregnancy. And the women who used lotion had 216% more parabens in their bodies. It's mind-blowing.
16%.
Mm-hmm. And they were just looking at the amount of lotion that they were using, right? And I'm sure, depending on how the study was done, I haven't looked at all the details, but the women could still be using other things like shampoos and cosmetics, and they all have parabens in them too. And the scary thing about a paraben is it can actually cross the placenta. So when you are pregnant and then you're using these, they can cross the placenta and it can have direct impact on the fetus and its exposure and its like brain development and its nervous system development. And that in itself should be enough to like ban them. But again, it's not.
Yeah, the same lotions that are like right next to the stroller in the baby store and the diapers and like all of the marketing and placement.
Yeah.
Lovely. Lovely.
Again, it comes back to just all the more important to have these conversations and why we are doing this as we learn more to share more, to let people know. And I mean, in that same vein, so then there's phthalates as well. So phthalates are pretty similar, right, to parabens?
Yeah, they are. They're also like estrogen mimicking, but these ones actually work. So estrogen and testosterone, they're kind of obviously like we think of them as men and women, but women have testosterone too. Men have estrogen too. So we just have massively different levels of them. But with phthalates, so these are in more like plastics and stuff, and they're in like the vinyl flooring and your shower curtains. They're in a lot of like fragrances. But with phthalates themselves, they actually block testosterone. So these have a bigger impact on men. So they can change the way that testosterone works by blocking it, and it can then change things like a lower sperm count. It can make sperm less mobile. It can have birth defects in male reproductive system. It can cause thyroid irregularities or obesity. Again, more with men because the way it works, but it's also a huge issue. And that's kind of why I said we're seeing fertility problems with men and women, because these have the same effect on men. But even women, if you don't have the right levels of testosterone, it's also going to mess you up too. So there's kind of a give and take.
Unreal.
So, now that we're all nice and frustrated, we are going to go to break. And when we come back, there's one more ingredient that I know you guys wanted to discuss. So we'll touch on that in the next segment, but we will, talk about things that you should look for and kind of give it a more sunny disposition now that we're all nice and agitated. You are listening to Two Healthy Chicks on SME Enlightenment Radio. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Two Healthy Chicks. This is episode 4. We're actually in our final segment of the mind, body, skin connection, and we are diving into the skin. So we were talking about the 4 top ingredients that we should avoid, and there's one more left. So I will hand that over to you guys to wrap that up.
Awesome. All right. So the last one is going to be triclosan. And so this one is a big one right now in our lives because we're using like antimicrobial stuff all the time. We're all using hand sanitizer in the middle of COVID and trying to get through this pandemic. So I think that we see it all the time. But triclosan, so it has these antimicrobial properties, which is awesome, especially when it was first developed back in the 70s and it was used for like sterilization in hospitals. And so super important, very much needed. But now as like the world is developing and people are more worried about germs and things like that, that it's almost becoming overused. So it's in all of our like antibacterial soaps. You can even like personal care products, but you can also find it in like dish detergent and some shampoos. And this one is linked to, again, imbalances of bacteria though in our body. So it can do more like gut issues. It can also do hormone issues. And it's linked to being a potential carcinogen too. So more like cancer related, which is a really big one. And they also know that triclosan can accumulate in your fat cells. So this is one of those too, that it's in your body for a long period of time. And they can kind of test that and track that the way that it sits in there. And like I said, we're using stuff like antimicrobial things a lot now, but like now more than ever. And so it's just a good one for people to know about.
Yeah, that's just our enragement just continues.
Yeah, we're speechless right now. Clearly.
Yeah, but that's so good to know. I mean, I didn't realize that was in the like antimicrobial stuff. Like that, I knew there were reasons why I don't want to be using the hand sanitizer all the time, but that specifically, I'd be like, I don't care for any triclosan, thank you. So thank you. That's really good. I mean, so to review those again, so number 1 was petrolatum or mineral oil. Number 2 was parabens. Number 3 was phthalates. And number 4 was triclosan. So those are things that we definitely want to avoid in our products that we use. So let's now switch to something else. A list of things that we might not want in our products that might find kind of interesting. I think it's going to be a little bit more interesting for people to know. So this is in this segment of what's in your products that might be intriguing to know. So we have our top, how many do we have? Top 10, I think. All right. We got 10 interesting things. And these are all in the category of animal products that are commonly in your personal care products, makeup, skincare, whatever. So the first one, I don't even know. Dr. Adams, do you know how to pronounce it? I don't even
know. I think cochineal dyes, maybe.
There we go. So what is this dye?
The best way is just to simply come out and say it. So it's actually going to be more beetles, and it's like crushed up. So there's these beetles known more in like Central and South Africa. And it's used for their coloring. So red dyes in your makeup, more like lipsticks and blushes. Most of the reds have these cochineal dyes from like these beetles.
Awesome. So enjoy putting that beetle on your face.
Right.
All right. So moving on to number 2 is, and you pronounce this different than I pronounce. So guanine, is that how you pronounced it?
That's how I think.
Yeah, I think it's guanine.
Guanine. Okay. So anyone out there know what guanine is? Going once, going twice.
Good old fish scales.
Nice.
Crushed fish scales. So this is in like your mascara, your nail polish, and again in like lipsticks.
Awesome. Very nice. Put those fish scales on. Okay. So this one, I think people have probably heard this one. Number 3 is tallow. What is tallow?
Oftentimes people know it, as like beef tallow. But when used in makeups or cosmetics, what they do is it's like rendered animal fat. So it's this boiling point of like carcasses and slaughtered animals. And then at the top, you get this fatty like substance and like this film, and they use that as like fillers and stuff in makeup, which is gross.
It's really fun. So if anyone wants to know more about that, you too can just Google rendering plant and find out more about that yourself.
There's one in every state in this country, just so you know.
Ew, I didn't know that.
Yes, there is. You can find out where the one closest to you is, and you can go take a field trip and check it out, and then watch the trucks travel to your.
People think that I am being so dramatic. Again, I fully admit that I'm a very dramatic individual, but people think I'm being dramatic when I say, what's in your lipstick? Like you're wearing your lipstick, but by the end of the day, you don't have any lipstick. Where did it go? You ate it. You kissed your children with it. You kissed your babies, your husbands, your wives. Like you kissed and you ate everything that we're describing now. I just want to put that out there again. So go ahead.
Solid point.
While we're on that, let's move on to more animal yumminess. Number 4, gelatin.
Super similar. Right? It's boiled skin, tendons, ligaments, bones of animals. And you get like this gelatin like stuff for like your creamy cosmetics and your nails and all the things that we use to look pretty.
Good stuff. Okay, moving on. Number 5. This one is super fun. Oh my gosh. Like if you're eating something right now, you might want to put it down and come back later. Number 5 is lanolin.
Yeah, so the easiest way.
We're giving you a moment to put it down.
The easiest way to think of this is like really greasy hair, right? Or like all of that grease that's in there. So lanolin is used it's an excretion from wool-bearing animals or mammals, like sheep and stuff. And they take all of that excretion and they put it in your lipsticks and your makeup.
Woohoo! Okay, this is getting more and more fun to get all made up.
Your hair, like really, really, really greasy hair, and then just like smearing it on your face.
Oh, so fun.
Gross.
Oh, we better keep moving. Moving through this. I promise there's good stuff coming. Okay, number 6.
There really is. We're going to spend the rest of the show talking about good stuff. Promise.
We just have to gross you out enough first, I guess. Okay, squalene is number 6. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so this is taken from the liver of sharks, and then it's added to your eye makeup and your lipstick.
Woot woot. Okay, number 7.
We're not going to talk about how we got to the dead shark in the first place, but anyway.
Right? What do we do with liver shark?
Yeah. No, let's not even go there. That's for another episode. I'll put that on the list.
Our growing list.
Okay, so if that wasn't bad enough, so let's move on to ambergris or ambergris.
Ambergris, I think.
Ambergris. Sure. Very similar. So this is in it lines a whale's stomach. And it's actually used more for like the scent in perfumes, or like the scent set, I think is what it's called, in a perfume.
Yeah. Lovely. So fun. Okay. Number 8, collagen.
Yeah. So this one's more in like lip plumping glosses. It's a protein, again, used from animals. And we don't really still know how animal collagen affects us. But there it is.
And I have to say, like, I have to say this little story because I had a client a while ago say about one of our collagen building products, say there's no collagen in here. And I'm like, no, there's no collagen in here because that's an animal product. And like, we don't put the collagen from animals. That doesn't help your skin. And we don't put it in our products. We put in things that help build up our collagen, but we don't put animal collagen in our products. So yeah, there's that. Okay, number 9, estrogen. This is exactly what we were talking about. Yeah. Or was it not?
We're just beating like a dead horse at this point. So estrogen, estradiol, it's just hormones in your stuff. And it's everywhere.
And then number 10 is retinol.
Again, animal-based product. It's used more for like anti-aging. But whenever you take stuff from animals instead of from like other parts of nature, you have no idea how it's going to affect you.
And it can be very harsh to the skin too. So, I mean, it's just, yeah. So that concludes our 10 weird and wacky things that are found in your products.
I will say, if you are listening to us on SM Enlightenment Radio, make sure that you also tune in and watch us on SM Enlightenment TV, because our facial expressions are adding so much to this conversation. You really need to see it for yourself. I'm just saying. And just going back really quickly to estrogen, Autumn, you mentioned beating a dead horse. Isn't that derived from extracting urine from pregnant horses? All right.
Why did you take us back?
I know. I'm sorry. I couldn't miss that opportunity. Like, it was right there.
Like, how did they get these ideas? Like, oh, you know where I'm going to grab that from?
Pregnant horses. I want to know. Yes. Like, how do you come up with that? Like, okay, we might just ditch everything else we were going to talk about. Like, let's discuss. Like, no, let's not do that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We're going to move to blue skies.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are moving on to happiness.
Mhm.
Happy. Okay, so so we have established if you are not sick by now, good for you. You have a strong stomach. So let's talk about what can we do? So all this doom and gloom, all this reality check. So what can we do? All right. So we have a list of at least, we have quite a few things, like at least 8 things that you can do to help your situation, our situation. So number 1, choose better ingredients. Be aware of what is in your products. We just discussed top 4 synthetic things, 8 gross animal things. Like, be aware what's in your products. Start reading labels. Number 2, there are cleanses out there, and there are things that you can do to get some of these things out of your body as well.
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of the positive part of it is we know that these things can build up in your body, but we also know that as soon as you start choosing better options, your body's really good at eliminating a lot of them as fast and as quickly as possible. So there's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel. You can get through this. You just have to, again, choose better things. So in terms of like heavy metal detoxes, you can do liver detoxes. And we won't go into those right now, but there's a lot of really good options out there. Another thing that we can do is drink a ton of water. Hydration is a huge part of skin health. So lots and lots of water. We need to focus on foods, Ayana, like you were talking about. That makes it's huge, especially in terms of things we put in our body as well. So choose good things to put on them, good things to put in it. But there's also a few really good supplements that I want to go through that will help with detoxifying. So chlorella is a really good one, as well as spirulina. And they're known to help actually decrease and almost like block some of the absorption of some of those endocrine disruptors. So they're really good to have in your supplements. Another really good one is going to be glycine. And that one also is used for like liver detoxification. So if you're trying to kind of get some of these heavy metals out, glycine is going to be a really good supplement. And then the last one is going to be selenium, because that also helps detoxify the heavy metals. So those are really good ones to put into your daily routine, or to find foods that are rich in those, because I really like eating your supplements instead of taking them all the time. But keep those 4 in mind for sure.
And I love that, because that kind of goes back to what you were saying. Those and all these fiber-rich foods, the leafy greens, they help pull those fat cells out, and the fat cells where these things are hiding. And so it helps pull them out of your system. So it's pulling the fat out at the same time that it's pulling those heavy metals and toxins and things out. So that's amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. It kind of helps bind it and pull it. And then the last thing I guess I would say is like normal, like these vitamins that we hear a lot about. Vitamin C is huge. And I know Ayana is going to talk a little bit about that. Vitamin C is huge. Vitamin D, vitamin E. They're antioxidants. So they help, again, take all this crap out of your body and help get you as healthy as possible.
Yeah. Jenny, you mentioned choosing better ingredients. You also, and actually, Autumn, you mentioned just finding brands that you know you can trust, so you don't have to constantly read every ingredient on every label. Lo and behold, shocker, Arbonne is one of those brands. So, we talk frequently about the many ingredients that are banned. We have over 2,000 ingredients that we ban from our personal care and nutrition products. And you mentioned spirulina, selenium, like a lot of those things, I'm just noticing them because it's in what we use. So in our, what used to be Greens Balance, it's now Super Well Be Green, I believe. And that has a lot of it has 36 phytonutrients in it. Jenny, it looks like you're reaching for it, so I can't wait.
I'm looking for it. It looks great here, but it's not.
One of the other products that I'll talk about at the end, it goes to a lot of what we've discussed about things that you should have and things that you should stay away from. Age Well, our skincare line, this is our newest skincare line. It has many of those ingredients. So it has that stabilized vitamin C, plant cell stem extract. These are things that you want to put on your skin that are fine to, seep into your skin because we don't have those ingredients in our products. You guys mentioned retinol. Age Well actually has a plant-based alternative to retinol, which is called bakuchiol. So funny word.
It's a fun word.
Actually, ironically, when we first came out with this, I had never heard of bakuchiol. And, I did a little research because that's what I tend to do now, especially with learning more and more and more and more. And bakuchiol has been on the market for quite some time. Actually, Good Housekeeping, you guys can look this up. Good Housekeeping did an article about the benefits of bakuchiol, and that was over 2 years ago. So if it was in an article for Good Housekeeping, how long have these things been available? They're not in many of the this might be your first time hearing of bakuchiol unless your Arbonne consultant has already gotten to you. So the benefits of that is just like you mentioned, retinol is very rarely tolerated well by the skin, which is why if you have those products in your medicine cabinet, take a look. It probably says use no more than once a day. And that's for a reason. Age Well is a phenomenal product line. I use it every night. I know if you know me, I talk about it quite a bit, but you have your cleanser, your toner, your serum, your eye cream, and then there's also 2 moisturizers, one for daytime, one for night. And sometimes people think, that's really a lot that I have to do. Honestly, it takes me 4 minutes to go through my regimen at night. I've timed it for that specific conversation. But you should absolutely have a cream specific to your eyes because the skin around your eyes is the most sensitive skin on your face. You should also have a day cream and a night cream because unless you are allergic to SPF, which is a very small percentage of the population, you should have SPF in your day cream. And your skin loses most of its moisture as you sleep. So your night cream should be that super moisturizing cream. So that's why you want to have those differences. But you know how to contact us. If you are looking for one of those brands, you're in the right place. So for Jenny, it's her first last, jennyhardy.arbonne.com. For me, it's ayanasykes.arbonne.com. And please feel free to reach out to us on our Instagram as well. My Instagram is AIY Sykes. Jenny?
Is Jenny Hardy.
Right. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. That's
all right.
really,
I was
really
like, what is it?
Okay, good. You couldn't remember it either. I don't feel bad. That's great. So you know how to get in contact with us. We do have just such a phenomenal company. I talk about Sykes a lot. And he has gotten to the point now where he's just like, yeah, all right, give it to me. Where in the beginning he's like, no, absolutely not. It's green. I'm not drinking that. I still haven't gotten him to drink the Greens Balance, but he uses the men's skincare line, the antioxidant shot now. He takes no question. It didn't ask me anything about it. So it's nice when you can get to that level of trust with a brand. It's nice that Arbonne is that brand for us.
And Dr. Autumn, tell us how chiropractic comes into this. How can you help with the chiropractic as well for the overall health?
I mean, I think with chiropractic, the biggest thing that people don't understand, like I kind of mentioned in the beginning, is it's not just about pain. So the basis of chiropractic is it allows your body's nervous system to adapt and to heal through all of your daily stressors. So chemical stress being a big one, just like we've talked about, the things you put on your body, the things you put in your body. It plays a massive role in how hormones in your body adapt and change. And you can get stuck in this stressed out state. But the same thing with like physical stress and mental stress. So your nervous system kind of shifts back and forth between like a fight or flight response, like high stress, and then like this rest, this digest, and this healing. The problem is when things get overwhelmed and too much stress in any one of the categories or all three, you can literally get stuck in what's called a sympathetic dominant state. So you're stuck in this fight or flight state, like you're getting chased by a tiger all the time, and your body just cannot function. So chiropractic, as we adjust you, the way that at least I adjust, I can only speak for myself, but the way that we work with patients is we help that nervous system start to adapt again and start to heal again, bring your body's stress down, and you can work through that daily stress so much better. And your life, it's literally life-changing. It's so cool.
I love it. It really is amazing just how it is all tied together. Everything we talked about tonight, the skin, the things you put on your body, what's in your products, the chiropractic care, it all works together for your overall health. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
So how can people get in touch with you, Dr. Autumn?
Yeah. So probably the easiest way would also be kind of like an Instagram. You can DM me if you want to. My Instagram handle is Dr. Autumn .Cussen. So kind of my name at the bottom there. All lowercase. I go ahead and send me a message because on there will be my website. And then if I can always contact you, via telephone number or whatever. So that's my office. It's down in Milford, Specific Chiropractic. Definitely just reach out, give us a call, email us, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And is your IG handle, is that Dr. spelled out or DR Autumn?
DR. Great little
tidbit there.
That's good to know.
Got you covered.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Dr. Autumn, for being here with us today. You're full of wisdom, and I just really appreciate you coming and being able to share with us and all these amazing details for us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, that brings us to our last little bit, our A-Pod. So very quickly, our Arbonne product of the day is the Skin Elixir Collagen Builder. So yes, this is not animal collagen. This is collagen builder to help build your human collagen in your body. Just saying. So it's actually what's in my bottle tonight. This is what I drink every single night. So it's an acai flavored vegan dietary supplement that features antioxidant vitamin C. It helps build collagen to support normal skin, hyaluronic acid that helps skin retain moisture to support and maintain smooth looking skin, biotin to support and maintain healthy hair, skin, and nails, a blend of antioxidants like sea buckthorn powder, pine bark extract, and vitamin C. It's a dietary supplement, a vegan dietary supplement that provides beneficial ingredients for the skin, hair, and nails. It's formulated without artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners, formulated without high fructose corn syrup, dairy, or soy. We must note that these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. And we all know how I feel about that. But additionally, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. After having said all that, like I said, I drink it every night. And I will say that this is part of my calm down routine. I mix it with complete hydration and Inner Calm, which has ashwagandha root. And like at 42, I've never had healthier hair. My mom also is an avid fan, and she drinks it at some point throughout the day. What about you, Jenny?
Yeah, I love it. It's so amazing. That's one of my favorite goodies that we have. It just makes my skin glow, and yeah, it's phenomenal. Love it. It tastes good too.
I mean, I love it. All right, yeah. So
our random facts. Go for it, Ayana.
You go first. I forgot. Let me think real quick.
Okay. So my random fact is that the very first triathlon that I ever did, not that I'm much of a triathlete, but the very first one I did was a relay one. So I did the bike portion, and our swimmer was the last one out of the water, to the point where people were coming back from the biking before I even started it. So that started my way into doing triathlons.
Wow. Very nice. Again, learning something new all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, really quickly, because like I said, I did forget. I'm going to be completely honest. Mine is that all throughout elementary school, at 5'9" now, I'm a very tall individual, I would say. All throughout elementary school, I was always the shortest and I was always the front of the line because that's when you used to line up in size order. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
So
I
that's
have
my
to.
insight.
I was 5'9", and I was always the tallest in mine. So you went to a very tall school.
Always the shortest. Oh,
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We hope that you took away several nuggets that you can start incorporating into your life and your skincare routine, and that starts making a difference in your life and in your health. So you are listening to Two Healthy Chicks on WSME SM Enlightenment Radio. Have a great night.
Hooray!
All
Yay.
right.